California Governor Gavin Newsom recently appointed the state's first Surgeon General, Dr. Nadine Burke Harris, who joins us. She's a pediatrician, the founder of the Center for Youth Wellness, and the author of a book called The Deepest Well, a landmark book about toxic stress. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So you're not busy at all.
Just a little
Just
bit.
bored.
Yeah.
So what's really cool, and most people don't know this, there are 3 states with Surgeon Generals, California one of them,
Yes.
and that's you now,
Yes, that's right.
Amazing.
which
So
is really cool.
what are your goals as California Surgeon General?
Well, when you think about surgeons general who have done something really substantial, most people jump to, see Everett Koop, taken on issues like tobacco or HIV/AIDS. Really, I think the big public health crisis of our time is this issue of childhood adversity. And there's more science now that tells us that what happens to us in early childhood has an impact throughout the lifetime. There was a landmark research study done by the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and Kaiser, where they looked at 17,500 folks, and they asked them about 10 categories of adverse childhood experiences. And those include physical, emotional, and sexual abuse, physical or emotional neglect, or growing up in a household where a parent was mentally ill, substance dependent, incarcerated, where there was parental separation or divorce, or domestic violence. And what they found was 2 things that were pretty surprising. One was that these adverse childhood experiences were far more common than anyone had previously realized. So in that huge study, 2/3 of the population had experienced at least one adverse childhood experience, and 1 in 8 folks had experienced 4 or more.
Wow.
The second thing that they found was that there was what they call a dose-response relationship between adverse childhood experiences and health outcomes. And not just the stuff that we kind of expect, like increased risk of mental health or behavioral issues, but also, for someone who has 4 or more adverse childhood experiences, their risk for heart disease is double. Their risk for stroke is 2.5 times. For chronic lung disease, more than triple. And here in California, for someone who has 4 or more ACEs, the data shows that their risk of Alzheimer's is 11 times, right? So understanding how that happens and doing that early intervention is critically important.
And I understand you really pioneered some of the screening for this in your clinic, correct?
Yeah, that's right, because before it was kind of this black box, right? Like, you have a rough childhood, and what is it that leads to these long-term health problems? Most people think, oh, you're more likely to drink and smoke and do the things that are gonna ruin your health. But it turns out that when you actually do the scientific analysis, that only accounts for about half of the risk.